Going on, gang, man? It's your boy Tommy Bazuda, man. Back on my Bazuda channel, man. Our Bazuda channel, man, for another reaction video, man. Hey, man, we back. Hopefully y'all tuned in the last videos, man. Shit been getting crazier, man. Been seeing a lot of crazy videos, man. Just been wanting to react to a lot of stuff and give y'all my honest opinion, man. Been just chilling. And, man, hopefully y'all been chilling, man. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Man, just run this shit up, man. Like, comment, subscribe, man. All my socials be down in the below, man, and also over here, so y'all can follow with that. Follow me on Instagram, all that shit. Go mess with this video, it'll be linked in the description, man. And also, yeah, man, go fuck with all that, man. And man, run me up, man. I'm high self tweaked already, man. But hey, we ain't gonna say too much, man. If you're under the age of 18, don't click on my videos, man. Click off. Hey, still leave a subscription, but click off, man. But yeah, man, we got, man, the invisible barrier, man, keeping two worlds apart, aka animals, man, creatures in the sea, probably aliens, you know, probably that, you know, if y'all believe in that. But yeah, let's get right into this shit. We ain't gonna waste no time, man. Like I said, link in the description to this video, man. Y'all go tune into that if you would like. Man, go follow me on Instagram. Let's get right into this shit, man. No more talking, no more talking.
In between two of the islands of Indonesia, there's an ancient line that is both real and not real. You can't see it, but it's there all the same. If you stood on the coast of Bali and looked east to the shores of Lombok, you'd be staring right at the line's narrowest point, a 32-kilometer stretch of water that seems pretty unassuming. This invisible barrier weaves its way through the entire Malay archipelago, the largest collection of islands on the planet. See, on the western side, the animal life is characteristic of Asia, featuring rhinos, elephants, tigers, and woodpeckers, to name a few. But cross the line, and things suddenly change. You won't find those same species on...
Pause. What the fuck? I'm so lost right now. What am I looking at? What islands is it? Where is this at again? He said Indonesia. Asia, whatever. I don't know, man. But on one side, you got a fucking... But what is this animal? I don't know what that is, but that's, you got an elephant, rhino, tigers, all that shit. I forget what they call these ugly face looking ass niggas, but hey, man, you got these, this crocodile looking ass nigga. Hey, this is true, man. I read cap.
Instead, the islands have a totally different cast of ecological characters, including marsupials, Komodo dragons.
I ain't read a cap. If y'all ain't noticed, this is actually real. Animals really don't cross this barrier. Like you can tell.
Cockatoos and honey eaters. This is what scientists call a biogeographic boundary, the meeting point of two regions of biodiversity that are highly distinct. And this particular line, called the Wallace Line, is perhaps the sharpest and most iconic of all. So how did this invisible line come to be? Why does it shape the distribution of so many species? How did we figure out the path it takes?
I ain't read cap. I don't know if it's by climate, like the climate change, weather changes, but all these animals look like they be in heat. So for y'all to say that weather change and shit, man, fuck out of here. I ain't worrying about that, man. Right.
And how can it be both real and imaginary? The Wallace Line was first sketched out in 1859 by a guy named, wait for it, Wallace. Alfred Russel Wallace, to be exact.
Oh, word. I was about to say, this nigga don't got no last name, yo. What the fuck?
Naturalist who you might have also heard of as the co-discoverer of natural selection. That concept came to Wallace in a literal fever dream as he lay bedridden with malaria during part of his 8-year trip around the Malay archipelago. And while it ended up being overshadowed by Darwin on that front, the second best idea he had on that trip was the existence of the Wallace Line. I mean, you know, two good ideas in one trip. This idea helped to forever establish him as the father of biogeography, the study of the distribution of living things. He had spent his voyage observing and collecting as many species as he could.
Oh, bad. These is kind of, what is... This are cousins right here. These at the bottom right, man. Oh, shit. Man, we came from that. This shit crazy.
Hopping from island to island across...
People really don't understand, man. This, man, we come from this, man. Let me stop gelling.
Almost the entire archipelago. And it was as he moved east from Bali to Lombok that he first noticed something intriguing. Even though the islands were separated only by a narrow strait, the change in animal life wasn't gradual and subtle. It was sudden and distinct. Wallace saw the differences in animal life between the two as being even more striking than between England and Japan. It was birds that initially caught his attention. Certain species
I remember, Cap, I gotta restudy my birds, bro. Cause what is that big head looking ass bird that was right here, bro? What is that, bro?
are plentiful on Java and Bali, like the yellow-headed weaver, coppersmith barbet, and the Javanese three-toed woodpecker didn't exist at
I like woodpeckers. Woodpecker's my favorite bird in the red, Cap, but what is all these ugly face looking ass birds?
And this abrupt shift extended to mammals and even many insects too. Almost as if an invisible barrier was separating two different worlds. But why and how? The biogeographic line that he drew, which others would tweak in later years, didn't just reflect the proximity of the islands. In fact, some islands on opposing sides of the line are closer to each other than many islands on the same sides are to one another. So Wallace realized that other more mysterious forces must be in play, like, say, geology. He recognized that the geological past shapes the biological present. And because the distribution of living species today partly reflects ancient geological events, he saw biogeography as a way to uncover epic chapters of the planet's history that might otherwise have been unknowable. These concepts are easy to take for granted today. We talk about them all the time here on Eons. But they were still fairly new ideas in Wallace's day. And by taking this perspective, he concluded that the Western Islands must have once all been connected to each other, and to the Asian mainland. Well, today they're surrounded by
ain't gonna cap, that is actually true, cause right here, this used to be all like it all used to be merged together. I mean, it all split. For all you goofy dumbass niggas out there who didn't really go to school, I mean, I don't really teach you this in school, but I guess they do, but I don't know, man. It split off, like when nigga like goes into like its own island and shit. Probably animals come with it, but over time this shit happens, like, and we might not understand and notice, but stuff like this happen, man. But it's probably gonna happen in the U.S. sooner or later, but y'all gotta deal with this shit, so.
Seas, this is only the result of a geologically recent rise in sea levels. How else could the big animals of that side, like tigers and
that tiger got a fat ass face,
rhinos and tapirs, have ended up on the islands? Because they're now separated by expanses of water that are way too wide for those species to cross. He had a similar thought about how the islands east of Java and Borneo had formed. At least some of them were the remnants of a former Australian continent. Wallace had a hunch.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was wondering that, like, how the fuck on this side of the line did them continents come with them islands? Did they come off of Australia type shit? Like, it's just weird, man. It's a lot of weird stuff.
Throughout all of that change,
some of it makes sense, some of it don't.
Strong currents between the two regions must have prevented many species from crossing from continent to continent when sea levels were lower. And this is still preventing many species from crossing today when sea levels are higher and the continents are fragmented into neighboring groups of islands. Even many flying bird and insect species obey the line, ones that aren't capable of crossing those stretches of open ocean. Wallace had pulled together many pieces of the puzzle, but he and other scientists at the time were missing one key idea to complete.
Sea level is rising, like, in today's world too. It is. So it's tired. Like, I don't know, man. The animals, like, they don't step outside their boundaries sometimes, and like with the sea level rising type shit, they not gonna cross that line for like, feel me, like birds. They fly and all, but they know their limits, man. You feel me? Like
Picture. Plate tectonics. The surface of the planet is not static, of course, it's dynamic. It's made up of individual large sections or plates that move and collide over vast stretches of geologic time. It's yet another concept that's easy for us to take for granted.
Yeah, man. Y'all, I think y'all need to see that again, because y'all don't understand this shit.
The surface of the planet is not static, of course, it's dynamic. It's made up of individual large sections or plates that move and collide over vast stretches of geologic time.
Like being like this, you feel me? Look. I'm sure this is familiar to all y'all.
It's yet another concept that's easy for us to take for granted, but which is actually a relatively recent addition to our understanding of the world. In fact, plate tectonics only became widely accepted in the late 1960s, more than half a century after Wallace's death, and also around the time when I was born, which means I'm as old as plate tectonics. We now know that plate tectonics shapes our planet in many ways, including forming and deforming continents, raising up island chains, and building mountain ranges. And studies have shown the Malay Archipelago to be one of the most complex tectonic regions in the world, a meeting point of multiple plates all jostling for space. And this is responsible for not only the area's many volcanoes and frequent seismic activity, but also the peculiar contrasts of its animal life. Because by the 1980s, scientists were able to say with confidence that the Wallace Line is, at its core, a result of plate tectonics. Wallace had correctly identified that two former continuous landmasses had existed on either side of this line in the deep past. Today we know them as the...
Oh, so it's like some animals that could, oh, to a certain extent that can, how you explain it? Deal with the landmass, and certain animals that can't type shit. So like they don't cross the line. I get it now. And so should I click off this video now or later? You feel me? But nah, that'll be the end of the video. I'm not trying to really react to all of this, man. Got stuff to do, man. Later tomorrow, next day, man. The next day. You feel me? But y'all see that. But hopefully, man, y'all stay tuned, man. We got more bangers coming, man. I just had to react to a calm video. You know, man. PBS, entertaining, man. Knowledge video, man. Education, man. You know, I'm not in school no more, but yeah, you still gotta teach people stuff someday or another, man. But hey, subscribe, man. Run it up, man. Follow all my socials, man. Follow me on Instagram, man. Link to this video in the description. Y'all can fuck with that. Hey, man. Y'all are bound to see me next video, man.